So in yesterday's session, we have discussed about types of forces in circular motion. So there are two kind of forces. Actually, there is only one force, which is centripetal force, which exists in circular motion. But since circular motion is an accelerated motion, so the object or the particle which is in circular motion experiences a pseudo force, and that pseudo force is centrifugal force. So we arrived at this equation F equal to m r omega square or m omega square r bar. This is centrifugal force, and if we consider centripetal force, which is a real force, then the centripetal force is given by in vector form minus omega square minus m omega square r vector. Okay, so if you look at the direction of this centripetal force, it is opposite to radius vector. So centripetal force is towards center, and if we consider direction of centrifugal force, it is in the direction of radius vector. So it is away from the center of the circle. So centripetal means center seeking force, a force which is directed towards center, and centrifugal is a force which is directed away from the center. Remember one thing, that this value of this centripetal and centrifugal force is same magnitude wise, but these are not same forces. Since centrifugal force is not real force, it is pseudo force. Okay, so when we consider ourselves in the reference frame of the particle which is moving in the circle, so when we consider ourselves moving in the circle, so our frame of reference is accelerated frame, and in that case only we consider the centrifugal force. Okay, so in reality the force is centripetal only. Okay, so remember these two important points. Now if you look at the velocity vector at this point, at point A, velocity vector is directed like this, tangential. And if we look at the direction of force, it is towards center. So the angle between velocity vector and the force is 90 degree. Now consider any other random position. Consider this position. Let us say this is position C. So the velocity is tangent and in the direction of motion. So it will be, velocity vector will be in this direction. If we consider radius vector, so radius vector is in this direction. Again, the angle between velocity and radius vector is 90 degrees. So now what about direction of force? Force is towards center. So again, angle between velocity vector and force vector is 90 degree. Consider any random position once again. Let us say position D. Centripetal force is a force which is always towards center. Now consider the direction of velocity vector here. So again the angle becomes 90. So at each and every point, the angle between force and velocity is always 90 degree. Then the motion in such case is always circular motion. Okay. And for all other angles, the motion could be say projectile motion. Okay, so now we'll move forward. We'll consider each cases in detail. Fine. You have to note down the two formulae that we have discussed just now. Centripetal force, centrifugal force. The formula for it is F centripetal is magnitude of centripetal force is m r omega square. M r omega square. Centripetal force is m r omega square. Fine. Now we have this relation B equal to r omega. Again, the proof of this relation was in 11th class. Okay, you can check 11th class videos if you want to know this proof in detail. Okay, so V equal to r omega. If we put this value here in place of omega, we can write B by R, and put this value here. We can write centripetal force equal to m r. Instead of omega, we can write V square by R square. So what we get is m V square. This R and square gets cancelled. So the centripetal force is mv square by r. So this is one more important formula that we use more often in numericals. Okay. So note down this formula also. In yesterday's session, I have given you some homework related to reading your textbook. So I expect that you have read page number 1, 2, and 3 of the textbook. Okay. So we have covered the basics of kinematics of circular motion till this point. Okay. You can also try example number 1. That is very easy and based on kinematical equation. We have already solved such kind of equations or such kind of numerical in 11th. So I will not repeat those numericals. Okay. Now on page number 2, centripetal and centrifugal forces are discussed on page number 2 and 3. And you can go through the remember this table. Okay. There are some important points to be considered. The word centripetal is not the name or type of that force. Basically, it is the property that says that the direction of force is towards center and along radius, obviously, or center seeking. Centripetal means center seeking. Okay. Then remember that centripetal force is real while centrifugal is pseudo. Okay. So these are some important points. Go through those. Remember these points. Fine. So centrifugal force is also covered. Centrifugal force is non-real force, or it is basically pseudo force. We introduce that force in mathematical equations only. Okay. Other than that, it has no special significance. Okay, or it has no special contribution in motion itself. Fine. Now we'll move to the next topic: applications of uniform circular motion. We will focus on uniform circular motion because it is easiest motion to study in case of circular motion. So we will consider the motion of a vehicle along a curved road. Okay. So now we know that from all this discussion, we have arrived at a small conclusion, and that conclusion is force, which centripetal force is always required for any kind of circular motion. It could be UCM or it could be non-UCM. This force is necessary. We can say it is necessary force. If this force is not present, there is no circular motion at all. So basically, the centripetal force is extremely necessary for any motion to be circular motion. Okay, and again we have arrived at this one more uh, relation, or we can say this one more point where force and velocity vector are always perpendicular at each and every point in the motion. Then the motion is always circular motion. Okay, so basically that force is centripetal force, and due to centripetal force motion exists. Now let us take example of centripetal force in different cases. So if I have let us say I have a stone tied to a string. So let us say this is a stone and it is tied to a string and it is held in my hand. Now if I try to rotate it, okay, so it will move in circle. If I move it like this, so it will move in circle. And which force in this case? Now this is a question for you. You can answer me in the chat box. Which force in this case provides centripetal force? Remember, centripetal force is a kind of force. It is not basically force. So there are different types of force in the nature. Tension, then different kinds of force include tension, then gravitational force, electromagnetic force. These all are basic forces. Now in this case, I have a string and a stone, and the stone is tied to the string and it is revolved in a circle. So which force provides the centripetal force? So you can answer me in the comments. Okay, right now I have a colorful thread with me. Okay, uh, I didn't find any particular heavy object, so I will use this scissor again. The experiment is very dangerous in my room, but still we'll do this experiment. Okay, so I'm tying up this scissor with a thread. Okay, Now, if we consider this thread, if you look at it closely, it has no tension. Okay, so it's slack. If we stretch it, if I pull this thread from both the sides, what will happen? It will undergo stretching. If you look at this thread closely, it will undergo stretching. Okay, if I pull it from two sides. Okay, now what we'll do now, if you look at this, the string is still having no tension. Now we'll start revolving it. Fine. So I have started revolving it. Now probably you might, sorry, this happens. So it's a dangerous experiment. Don't do at home, and especially don't do it with scissor. It may break things. Let's do it once again. Okay. So now we will revolve this scissor. You might have seen the motion. You can do this experiment at home also. So let me show you the motion slowly. So motion is like this. If you look at the string is continuously straight throughout the motion. It means the string is under some kind of tension, and that tension provides the centripetal force. So answer to this question is tension. Tension provides centripetal force in case of stone tied to a string. Now let's take one more case where objects are in circular motion. Let us consider motion of Earth around Sun. Let me show you Earth in a very small size. So this is Earth, and let us say this is Sun. Earth is revolving in circular orbit around Sun. Fine. So the orbit is circular. Imagine that the orbit is circular, approximately circular. Now, since Earth is revolving around Sun in circular motion, there should be centripetal force, like the force which was present in the string, which was tension. There should be some force between Earth and Sun, which helps it to move in circle. Okay, so that force here is centripetal force, and you have to name this force. Which kind of force it is? In this case, which force provides centripetal force? You can answer me in chat box. So in this case, the gravity or gravitational force provides centripetal force. Okay, so gravitational force is the force which provides centripetal force in this case. Now we'll consider one more real life case, and you have to identify the centripetal force, or which force provides centripetal force in an example. Okay, so let us consider one more example, and we will discuss this example in more detail. Okay, so motion of car on bank on, let us say, circular road, on circular road. Okay, so we'll discuss this motion in a little more detail as it is there in our syllabus. So we'll discuss this motion in more detail. So let us consider a circular road like this. Okay, and now this is center of the circle. We have a circular road like this, and we have a vehicle which is moving over the circular road in this direction. Okay, so what is expected from this vehicle? As the vehicle is moving in this circular road, there should be some force towards center, which is centripetal force. So can you tell me which force in this case will provide the centripetal force, since there is no connection between the center of the road and the vehicle itself? So which force will provide centripetal force in this case? Just put your answers in the comment, in the chat section. Okay, so let me draw one more diagram for you. Till that, till that time, You can put your answers in the comment box or in the chat box. This is front view or back view of the vehicle on this curved road, fine. And what we see here, it is in contact with this road. These tires are in contact with this road, and the vehicle is moving like this. It is along turning towards, let us say, towards left. So, which force in this case will provide the centripetal force? Now there are three chat. Okay, gravitation, inertia, friction. Yes. So correct answer is there are three answers. I received three answers, out of which one is gravitation. Or gravitation maybe it is answer of previous question. The other answer was I think inertia, friction, frictional force. Good, good. Many students are correct. Very good. Okay. So the correct answer is friction. Friction provides the necessary centripetal force. So what happens, how this friction works here? Let us consider the friction in more detail. Okay, what happens if we see this front view? Let us say the vehicle is taking turn towards left. Okay, so this is left side is the center. Center is towards left side. Okay, and this vehicle is moving like this, and we are let us say we are watching from back side of this vehicle. Okay, and these are the tires. Let us say we spread some oil on this surface. If we spread some oil on this surface, what will happen? This is the road. This is the road. Okay, and the vehicle will move outside. So this vehicle will tend to move outside due to obviously due to its inertia, it will move outside, and this oil will make the road slippery, and the vehicle will move out of the road. Okay, so now if there is no oil, it means still the vehicle has tendency to move outside, and that's why the friction will overcome this tendency of moving outside by providing centripetal force. So here the friction provides centripetal force. Let us say the center O is at this point. Okay, so now the friction between the tires and the road will be towards the center, and this friction will provide centripetal force. Now we know the relation for friction. Friction where n is a normal reaction and mu is called coefficient of friction, static friction. Okay, we have already studied this topic in 11. What is friction? What is coefficient of static friction? So we'll consider this relation F equal to mu n, where n is normal reaction. Now in this case, the road is horizontal, normal road, ordinary road. So the weight of vehicle is downward mg, and the normal reaction of the road will be upward from the obviously from the center of mass of the body. So it will be upward and this force will be downward. Since the vehicle is not moving up or down, it means this n and mg should be equal. So here in horizontal road case, n is equal to mg. If we put this value in equation number 1, so what we can write is F equal to mu mg. This is our equation number 3. Now this is force of friction. Okay. Now we know that from this all discussion, we know that the force of friction provides centripetal force. So this friction should provide centripetal force. So centripetal force should be equal to friction, or basically this friction should be at least equal, or it can be greater than the centripetal force. Okay, so we can write this friction can be equal or greater than uh, the centripetal force. Okay, so we can write the value of centripetal force. We have the formula for magnitude of centripetal force, which is mv square by r should be greater equal or should be less equal mu mg, cutting m on both sides. And if we simplify this relation, what we get is v square is less equal mu r g, or v is less equal mu rg square root. What we get here is the velocity or tangential velocity of the vehicle should be less than or equal to this value. So what could be the maximum case? V max could be square root of mu rg. This relation tells us that the vehicle speed at any instant while it is moving on circular road, it should be less than or equal to square root of mu rg. So this gives you upper limit of velocity of a vehicle on a curved road. Okay, so if you overspeed your vehicle on a curved road on a turn, okay, if you have a turn in your colony and you are taking that turn at say let us say 80 or 90 or 100 speed, then there are more chances that your vehicle, instead of moving like this, it may move like this and will leave the road, and there will be accident in that case. So this maximum velocity is upper limit of velocity. ठीक है, तो ये रीजन है कि हमारा गाड़ी टर्न पर हमारे व्हीकल्स स्लिप क्यों होते हैं. सो रीजन इज वेरी सिंपल. मैक्सिमम स्पीड इज स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ म्यू आर जी, जहां पर आर है रेडियस ऑफ circle or radius of we can say r is turning radius, g is acceleration due to gravity जो कि constant है. So we have two things which are in our control, mu and r. Mu is coefficient of static friction. It depends on the quality of your tires and the roads. Okay, and that g is again constant. That r depends on this r depends on turning radius. So if you take larger turn, you can take that larger turn at a higher speed. Okay, and if you are taking shorter turn, then you should reduce the speed. Okay, so you can try this. You can do the experiment again. Experiment is dangerous, and you may broke your bones if you try to take turn at different speeds in your colony road. So you can try taking turn at different speeds. Take a turn at 10 kilometer per hour, then take the turn again at 20, then again at 30. There are chances that you may make an accident. So do it safely. And in that case, you can verify. Yes, this as you increase the radius of increase your speed, your turning radius will increase. You have to take larger turn at higher speeds. Okay, and again at after certain speed you may leave the road. Okay, so these are the risk in this case. Again, it's a monsoon season, so this value of mu reduces. On dry road, generally value of mu is 0.8. Okay, value of mu very strong, 0 to 1. These are the range for value of mu, coefficient of friction. And on dry condition, proper road, proper tire condition, mu is 0.8. And if the road is wet, like in this rainy season, so the value of mu reduces to 0.2. So remember that in rainy season, there are more chances that you may meet an accident if you are driving your vehicle or you are taking your taking a turn with your vehicle at very high speed.